The government's pretty complicated. We have a lot of complicated rules and requirements that Americans have to deal with. And just as a computer often has, or a tablet or a phone, often has really complicated machinery, and technical people work very hard on hard and complicated subjects to generate it, but it's really simple to use. It's user-friendly. Even a kid can use it. So the idea is that in dealing with government, whether you're trying to understand a rule, trying to comply with the law, trying to understand what an educational campaign is really about, it can be simple and understandable. The idea is that that is a large part of government's future. I guess I think that in ordinary life and in interactions with business and in interactions with the government, and sometimes even with interactions with our friends and family, things go less well than they might because of undue complexity. So I think now in my own family, how can we make things simpler? And the benefits of simplicity are very large and easy to overlook. So the thought is that we live in what is in many ways an increasingly complex world where the number of things that we have to navigate is just higher and higher. And that's exactly the time when the premium needs to be placed on reducing the costs and the headaches that complexity can introduce. The Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs is the overseer of federal rulemaking, meaning it has to work with other parts of the federal government to make sure that the rules before they go out from the federal government are lawful, sensible, consistent with the President's priorities, and will be helpful rather than harmful to the American people. So it's the office within the executive office of the President that really plays a principal role in making sure that our regulatory agenda is serving the American people well. A nudge is a light form of regulatory control in the sense that it fully maintains people's freedom of choice. Within the Obama administration, we were focused on making decisions that would be helpful rather than harmful to people, and it was a kind of problem-solving approach. But if you're alert to the universe of tools, some of which include nudges, then the available responses to problems just increases. So I'll give you a couple of examples. There's an old icon for informing people about healthy nutritional choices called the food pyramid, which is very confusing and was the bane of the existence of many parents and teachers and some children over the years, just because you don't know what you're supposed to eat. If you want to eat healthy, the food pyramid is highly complicated. We simplified that greatly and have something called the food plate, which says if you make your plate half fruits and vegetables, you're most of the way home. And it gives other clear, simple bits of advice. The President placed an emphasis on automatic enrollment in savings plans. And we know now that a lot of people aren't getting savings for retirements or adequate savings for retirements because they aren't enrolling. And that's because it's kind of a bother to enroll, even if you want to. And if employers automatically enroll people, then the savings rate jumps up. So automatic enrollment is something we took very seriously. There's the equivalent of an automatic enrollment plan, which is giving a lot of kids in the United States lunches and breakfasts to which they are entitled by law, which they weren't getting just because the enrollment process was pretty complicated. We've taken away, and this is a nice, I think, generally supported nudge, many millions of hours in paperwork and reporting burdens, knowing that that's kind of a harmful nudge, because if the government requires you to undertake paperwork, you might not enroll in programs, you might not do your work, you might not be attending to your family because you're spending too much time on paperwork. We took a lot of paperwork burdens away. We also tried in various ways to use disclosure as a low-cost regulatory tool. Uh, the Consumer Bureau has as a mantra, know before you owe, and it's trying to use simplified disclosure for mortgages and other loan situations so that people understand what they're getting into. And we tried to do that in a number of domains. When people buy cars now, there's a sticker on new cars that tells you the miles per gallon, but it also gives you simple information that's a little more meaningful than miles per gallon, like how much money you're going to spend on gas this year with this car. And then you can make a nice comparison with other cars.